So, hello everyone. I welcome you all to this session. This is one of the very important session. The topic of today's discussion is critical section problem. So, let's quickly discuss what is critical section and what is the critical section problem. As the term suggests, critical section. So, there is a section which is critical in nature. Okay. And in order to execute that critical section, we face a number of challenges. So, we consider this as critical section problem. Let's understand it. So what is a critical section problem or what is a critical section? In computer programming, when we write a code, in case we are executing that code in concurrent environment, or there are more than one processes using the same code, or maybe there are two processes, they may start manipulating on same resource. So same resource can be shared between more than one processes. So such kind of resource, if threads or processes are updating simultaneously, there can be inconsistency in the data. So in computer programming, a critical sections refers to a piece of code that accessed shared resources. So please do remember shared resources such as memory, files or hardware, any kind of shared resource that must be accessed by only one thread or process of execution at a time. So if any of the resource, more than one process start manipulating or updating or executing same time, there'll be mismatch in the data. The critical section is a part of code that needs to be protected from simultaneous access. Need to be protected from simultaneous access. Such code we consider as critical section. Okay. Otherwise, there will be some problems like race condition, as we have discussed in the previous video. There may be the situation of deadlock. There may be data corruption, or there may be other synchronization issues. So that's why the critical sections need to be executed in a proper manner or proper order, right? So to ensure mutual exclusion, the programmer use synchronization techniques. So we discuss different synchronization techniques. We generally use logs, semaphores or mutex or monitors, right? So we will discuss later on. Now let's see, if a code is written, what is the critical section there? So as definition says, critical section is a block of code where process start manipulating the shared resources or works on shared resource. So if this is the critical section, that means there are n number of lines of code is there, and these lines of code trying to update or manipulate the shared files or shared data or shared value. So that's why we are saying this is critical section. Now we know that this section need not to be executed in any of the manner. There has to be a proper sequencing. For that we write two other block of code. So the very first block of code is entry section. We write, or programmer write, just before the critical section. So before entering the critical section, a process need to satisfy the conditions written in entry section. And once a process exits from the critical section, there is another code, exit section. So some of the variables will be released or logs will be released. Okay, and that block of code we consider as exit section. Now, apart from the critical sections, there may be other codes in the program, so that we consider as non-critical or remainder section. Non-critical, or you can say remainder section. Okay, so this is also you consider as remainder section. Okay, so remaining code is remainder section. The code where process is manipulating shared resources, that is critical section. To protect the critical section, we write two extra block of code, entry section and exit section. So let's try to understand the critical section with the help of an example. Let's say I have written a code like this. Here I'm including a number of header files, so that is separate issue. The portion which is critical here, actually here I'm opening a file like shared file.txt, and I'm opening this file in write only mode. O underscore WRL means write. Okay. So if this file is being opened by write only mode, and before that I am calling a fork, and you know that fork system call creates duplicate process or identical process. So this code will be available with child also. That means child will also open this shared file.txt in write mode. Parent is also opening this shared file.txt in write mode. And because parent and child will become concurrent processes, they will be executing in the same time frame. They start manipulating the same shared file.txt, and there may be data inconsistency. So I have applied the loop. Let's say 100 times I'm writing this thing inside this file. So if I'm comparing PID is equal to 0, that means my child process is trying to write this line inside the shared file.txt. And here I'm comparing my PID with greater than 0. That means this block of code will be executed by parent, right? So the parent process try to write this line 100 times, let's say. Okay. So what I'm saying here, in this particular block where the processes are trying to manipulate the shared resource, because this write system call is updating a file descriptor which is related to a common file. So child is also updating the same file descriptor and parent is also updating the same file descriptor. So this section we consider as critical section. Okay. Before executing this section, we need to write some entry section or exit section after this. Otherwise, there will be data inconsistency. So let's quickly see what kind of data inconsistency will be there when we execute this code. Okay, so let's execute this code. In this code, I'm using GCC, and let's say CSV file I'm compiling. So when I'm compiling, there is no problem. It is getting compiled and I'm executing this. Now, once I have executed this, I check there is a file shared file.txt has been created. And if I check the content of shared file, the content of shared file is the combination of these lines which has been written by the child process and parent process. Whenever we execute this program, this order is not fixed. Here what is happening, first child process is writing I am a child, I am a child, so n number of lines, and then once the context switching will be performed, then the another process will get the chance to write. So that will be the, so there's a problem. You look at here, half of the line is printed here and then the parent process start writing here. Okay, so there is a data inconsistency because we are expecting here 200 lines should be written. 100 lines are being written by the child process and 100 lines are being written by the parent process. But parent has start writing first and then child start opening the file. So let me, if I remove this file, shared file, let's say, okay, and if I again run that code, now if we again check, the file must be created, and now this time you can see, so wherever this context switching is happening, so there is a data inconsistency. This line is incompletely printed, one thing, and I am a parent, it is only printing few times. Okay, so let's say if I again execute it, and if you again see the thing, there'll be different things. Okay. So this is data inconsistency because of the written code, and inside the written code there is a critical section and we are not protecting the critical section. We are executing the critical section without bothering in which particular manner or in which particular order this critical section is being executed. So either the child will execute it first or parent will execute it first. So we cannot guarantee what output will be stored in this shared file.txt, and this is the problem which we consider as critical section problem. So in order to solve this problem, there are multiple solutions. We write entry section. This is a code, some condition like if else kind of thing. We put some conditions. If those conditions will be true, the process will be allowed to execute this particular critical section where the shared resources are being manipulated. And after finishing the critical section, we write some of the conditions. So the process will ensure, okay, now I am exiting from the critical section. So please look at some of the properties of critical section problem solution. Okay. So these are a few of the properties which every critical section problem solution must satisfy. So the very first property is mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion means only one process can access the critical section at a time. The property ensures that the conflict updates to shared data are avoided. Conflict update means when one process is updating, like shared file which I have demonstrated, another process should not be allowed to start manipulating it same time. Then the progress. Progress is that if no process is currently executing in its critical section, so no process is inside the critical section, and there are some processes that wish to enter their critical section. So let's say one or two processes are there. The only those processes that are not in the remainder section means the section of code apart from the critical section, can participate in deciding which will enter in its critical section. Okay. And this selection cannot be postponed indefinitely. The meaning here is if n number of processes are inside the system, but let's say only k processes are interested to acquire the critical section, when your logic is working, it should consider the interested processes to decide. Other processes should not be participating in that decision making process, and that decision has to be taken in finite amount of time. It should not be delayed. Okay, that is progress. And what is bounded waiting? Once a process has made a request, okay, to enter in its critical section, there is a limit. A limit of the number of times other processes are allowed to enter their critical section. So if let's say P1 is requesting to acquire the critical section, before P1 gets the critical section, let's say this is critical section, before P1 gets, there has to be a count how many process at max can acquire the critical section before this P1 gets this critical section access. So this is considered as bounded waiting. Okay. Then the next is there should not be any deadlock. In most of the books, they mention mutual exclusion, progress, and bounded waiting. But there are some other obvious property need to be satisfied by the critical section solution. There should not be any deadlock. The deadlock means there may be a situation because of the entry code, no process is being allowed to enter the critical section. Okay, so maybe the condition of mutual exclusion will be true, but it is not the desired property of a critical section problem solution. So there should not be any deadlock. The processes need to acquire the critical section in a specific order so we can control the data inconsistency, right? And your solution must be efficient enough. So it should not be very complex. Then it takes so much time, so much computational resources or memory to decide to make your critical section protected, right? So please do remember all these things. This is sufficient for this. So I'm closing this section. See you in the next class. Thank you, everybody.